Hi, everyone. Welcome to Expert Insights on Buildings Canada. We are doing live interviews here on the show floor at the Building Show. I'm here with Scott, who just finished doing his session at the PM VIP Roundtable. Thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
So the first question I have for you is, what are some of the most effective strategies you see property managers and owners using to upgrade their buildings into higher performance properties?
That's a very long question. I mean, a lot of ways you could go with that question. What we do, and we Bedrock is a property manager in Detroit, so a lot of what we've done has been the revitalization of downtown, if you've read about that or not. But what we do from a development perspective is we try to take and look at our existing systems in a building, and we ultimately try to start pulling data from those particular systems. So what I mean by that is every building that we have has mechanical, HVAC, lighting, and a lot of systems that I think over time we put a building in place and then we kind of forget about maintaining those systems over time. So what we do is actually go through and deploy a common network, and we pull all those systems together, and by physically visualizing what's going on in the building, we can start to modify and adjust the way it operates, and we see tremendous energy efficiency just by grabbing existing systems and seeing real time what's going on. And from there, we take, now that we have information and we're watching how our building lives and breathes, we can start to make modifications to that building to even further advance from an energy perspective and an operations perspective. So, and it's not just about the dollar saved from an energy and operations, but it's creating a tenant experience that is really differentiating us from other tenants and other landlords in the industry. So, for instance, a tenant may have the ability to see what their HVAC and lighting systems are doing, can control real time how their particular spaces are being controlled. If you're in a desk and you're notoriously cold, you have the ability to control that space almost more like your home versus a commercial office building. I think the trend has always been we're very particular about how our homes operate and not so much about how our business and our environment at work operates. So I think for us that's been the call it the most innovative thing is connecting buildings, grabbing data, and then from that being able to do all kinds of things for our tenants, for our operators. So it's kind of creating a holistic view of a building.
Very interesting. And so I know there's a lot of conversations about energy efficiency, like you were saying, but how much could upgrading your building really affect your bottom line?
It's very interesting. We see even, I like to use examples. So we had a particular building that we did a 10-floor renovation just 2 or 3 years ago. So new construction, built to current building codes. And we turned our building over to operations and basically generated a baseline from call it the plans and specifications of what a traditional construction project would be, not taking SMART into account, just putting in the systems as they were designed by the architects, engineers, and installed by the contractors. And then we established a baseline for a few months on how those spaces were performing. We came in after the fact and actually tied those together and started to real-time manage and monitor how our building was operating. So doing things like CO2 sensing to drive how fresh air was being provided to the space, and basically doing what I'll say, modifying it so we're real-time watching. And we see approximately a $50 to $1 a square foot reduction in energy by managing from that perspective than we do from just managing and letting our buildings run traditionally. I think it's kind of the analogy I use of, a building and a car are very similar products, right? They're both very technical. When they're completed, we tend to provide them and then forget about them. So in a car, you do maintenance. You change your oil, you make sure your tires are changed, so that ultimately that car runs like it did when we bought it. And I think in a building over time, we turn it over at this point and we forget about all those things to keep that building running efficiently. And there's tremendous amounts of energy savings that can be found in just doing that routine maintenance and understanding what we're doing.
Perfect. And if someone has a limited budget, what are some of the strategies or the technologies would give them the biggest return on their investment, do you think?
Limited budget. My ultimate goal, and obviously we had a limited budget when we started, it's to find those specific pain points in your buildings. So, whether that's an electrical cost, whether that's a gas consumption cost, whatever your particular pain points are, it's to focus kind of on those pain points and start small to pick away at those pain points. So, it doesn't have to be a 100 million square foot building or a 10,000 square foot building. You can start with small projects like, I'm going to better manage these conference rooms in this particular space. I'm going to better handle my lighting control system so that my lights turn on and off at particular times. There's small projects you can do within a smart building context that provides a return on investment and ultimately begins to build the logic of real-time monitoring, real-time adjusting, seeing the benefit of, call it a holistic system.
Wonderful. Scott, thank you very much. And thank you to CMD for letting us host these interviews at their booth. And for all of you that are watching at home, if you like this video, remember to subscribe to our channel. We will be releasing more videos as the year goes on. Thank you and see you again.